There's just one thing, dude.
What's that?
You have to use so many cuss words.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You are now experiencing NBTLT, where genius and manliness take their true form. Initiate panty dropping in 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Zumi.
What's up, Lonnie?
How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. How are you?
I missed you so much.
You fag.
I know. I don't think you're allowed to say that anymore. Are you allowed to say... Oh, but you are a fag, so you can actually say it. So that's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't. I won't be able to say Mexican pretty soon.
Oh, why is that?
Well, because like the whole Donald Trump thing. I guess now saying Mexican's gonna be racist too.
I thought they were always racist.
Oh, I mean, no. I mean, you had other versions of it, but the word Mexican, So I can't do my Mexicant joke anymore.
Oh, so you're saying it'll become like a, like calling someone a communist back in like the 30s and 40s?
Yeah. So now every time somebody comes in, it's like, yeah, like you fucking Mexican, that I can get offended and it'll be okay. Then I can say like, Mexican is the N word for us Mexicans.
Only we can use it.
Oh man, it'd be so fucking dumb though. I got some news for you before we actually start. Today marks the day of Fidel Castro's
Death?
I guess, and of his empire. He died.
And they tried to, the CIA or the U.S. government tried to assassinate him like 600 and something times.
Jeez.
And the dude lived. What did he die at? Like 93 or something?
I thought he was 90, like 90 period. Oh, but here's the thing, like Fidel dies, and then all these my Mexican peers start doing memes and shit, and a lot of them hate Donald Trump. So they put a meme of Fidel Castro, like in a quote that he said, "I will die until the U.S. is destroyed."
Yeah.
And then so that's his quote, and on top they put Trump's elected president. So.
Well, they have that. Did you see that really harsh picture I put up of Janet Reno? I think I might have.
Yeah, I did.
Kind of like the same thing. It's like, well,
Yeah, but the one on Reno was, Trump will never be president in my life.
Or as long as I'm alive, or something like that.
Right. So she dies like a day before, right?
Yeah.
And which was, pretty ironic. But the one that Castro is like, oh, so now they're saying like Trump is, that's how he destroyed the U.S., how he can die in peace. I'm like, dude, come on, like.
You're telling me that Fidel Castro wasn't an oracle?
I know, right? But anyways, that's all the politics I'm gonna go doing. At least Obama got us Cuban cigars back in the States. And
yeah,
if you
I still don't have one.
If you haven't smoked a fucking Cuban cigar, you're missing out, dude. Because
they're very good, very good.
But I think they tasted better when they were illegal, though.
Illegal?
Yeah. That I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying, actually.
Are you saying that's the only good thing that Obama brought us? Tread carefully.
I mean, yeah.
Fuck all of you.
Well, here's the thing. Like, we can take a trip to Cuba now as U.S. citizens. Like, I don't have to get my Mexican passport to travel to Cuba as a Mexican.
For now.
So now, yeah. So not that Cuba's on the top of the list, but you never know. One of my friends went there and he liked it. He said it was kind of weird that he got people approach him saying like, "Hey, dude, like just kind of like take my daughter.
Yeah.
You can marry her, just get her out of this fucking island type thing.
Yep.
And others were all like, Castro forever type thing.
Well, it's like when we were over in Kyrgyzstan, you go into Bishkek, and when they took us through the that little museum, the old Soviet Union museum.
That was pretty. That was pretty intense.
That was pretty intense for another time, because there's a lot of stuff in that. But a lot of the people over there said that there's a lot of things that they do miss about the Soviet Union. And you can kind of understand it, because there probably were some things that might have been better than capitalism. But not that I have anything against capitalism, but it was just interesting.
All I remember about my trip outside, or like on that area, was that there were a lot of hot lesbians.
Yeah, there was a remarkably high number of non-ugly people. Like, even the dudes. I mean, even the dudes were decent looking. I'm just saying. It was just weird. There's like a weird mixture of the Russian and the Chinese when they invaded or did whatever when the Soviets took over. So it's interesting. I thought it was a cool country. But
yeah, it was fun.
Other than kids trying to pickpocket you.
Yeah, it was different, but it was fun. I really enjoyed it. The food was fucking great, dude.
Oh my gosh,
I was just like, dude,
awesome.
like, why didn't they fucking let the locals like cook for us instead of, whatever chow thing?
You didn't like powdered eggs?
No.
Ugh.
No, I didn't.
Or those terrible boiled eggs that they gave us. They didn't even have the decency to shell them first.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I remember they gave us the like once a month or something. They had the Mediterranean lobster.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Which they overcooked the shit out of it too.
Oh, you cooked the shit out of it.
I didn't really like, but I don't know. But going off base, oh my god, that food was amazing.
Oh yeah, we went to some restaurant that was apparently really expensive, but it cost me like $5.
Yeah.
And I got everything.
We probably went to the same restaurant. Like, yeah, so I got everything, like too, like a lamb, and I don't know if they had pork, but I had it was like a sampler type dish, and everybody else just went with the traditional gringo stuff. I'll have chicken.
Oh yeah, I got a filet mignon and fondue.
Dude, those guys got fucking food poisoning.
You're sitting over here going, "I'm okay."
I'm okay. And everybody was like asking me, like, "Hey, like, how come you didn't get sick?" And I'm like, dude, I'm Mexican. Like, you know what kind of food I've eaten? Like,
do you know what the water's like in Mexico?
I'm immune to this shit. Give me the hot stuff.
You're like a exhibit A, for any immunity type, like vaccines or anything. It's like, let's just study this guy.
Yeah, they're all like, "Oh, you should drink bottled water." I'm like, yeah, just give me the tap water. I fucking care.
Non-potable water.
So, happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. A little 2 days late, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the audience gets. So, yeah, happy Thanksgiving, audience.
Even though I'll edit this by Monday, and
I know it's gonna be like, huh? Yeah, you celebrate. What do you guys celebrate in Thanksgiving? The slaughter of the Native Americans?
Well, no, I think we've kind of transformed it into a day where you just kind of like, you sit and think about the things that you are thankful for having and the things that you've been able to do and all that stuff. But I think that's not really what people think about. I think it's just a feast day, honestly.
It's a pick yourself out.
Yes, and it's wonderful. Speaking of which, like everybody has their own way of doing Thanksgiving dinner, and even the vegans have their own way of celebrating Thanksgiving. And something I saw a few years ago and I thought I'd bring up is Tofurky. And I don't think you've ever seen this.
I've never seen. I've seen a turkey made out of Spam.
Well, this is no meat. This is just tofu turkey. So it's like turkey flavored tofu, and it's like this loaf. Now, go ahead and Google image search this Tofurky. Now, it's spelled the exact same way that I put on the set list here. But it's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. I would never eat it. I mean, I like tofu on some things, but it just, when they start flavoring it, are you seeing this?
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. It's like this circular or orb-like.
What the fuck is that?
I don't know, but they fill it with
it looks like
false stuffing, and it's terrible. It looks like one of those microwave cordon bleus that you get, just way worse.
It looks like it's like a potato. What the fuck?
Does this look like a turkey to you?
No, it doesn't look anything like turkey. But I mean, it's tofu, right?
Yes, it's tofu.
What's in the middle, though?
I think it's stuffing, and I'm pretty sure it's like bread and stuff like that. But I'm it's like it's basically a
vegans eat bread.
Yes, I mean, well, actually, I don't know. Do they?
I don't know.
I don't know what vegans eat. I don't know. That's why they taste so good, and they're going to get eaten by the cannibals and the carnivores and all that. That's what happens in the animal kingdom. When you eat plants, you taste better. But yes, it's disgusting.
Dude, I don't even know how to describe this.
Why pretend that you're eating meat? That's almost worse if you're a vegan, right? Like you're not going to eat meat, but you're going to pretend to eat meat.
I think you have to be a hipster vegan in order to do that. Yeah. Like if you're a pure vegan, I think you would get away from all of that stuff. Like even the imitation. Like, I mean, it's like you've seen they have like the sausage flavored tofu type thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, dude, that's technically, I mean, if you're going for the flavor, that tells me that you would eat meat, right?
Yeah.
But just because you're hipster, you're going like, no, it tastes like meat, but it's not real meat. It's tofu.
What's the fucking point?
Dude, like I said, you're hipster and you're...
Now, that brings up an interesting question I have, or statement, rather. I've noticed recently, in the past few months, that there's been a lot of restaurants that are being either sued or they're getting on the news for ridiculous reasons. And I'll give you one of them. A customer will walk into this restaurant and they will complain that there's no vegan menu. Now,
get the fuck out of here.
Even if, say it was like a Subway or something like that. Okay, fine. We don't have a vegan menu. We should probably have a vegan menu, because we have all kinds of people coming in. Now I know what you're going to say. It's still ridiculous. But even then, you can kind of accept it that, okay, they're upset that there's no vegan menu. But that's not where they're going. They're going into fast food restaurants. And not that Subway isn't fast food. I'm just saying like burger joints. And they had one place that's all meat. I'm not going to say the name of it, but there's this one restaurant where
no, I'm just kidding.
There's this one restaurant out here that's all meat. That's all they sell. Now they do sell like potatoes and like mashed potatoes and some broccoli and stuff like that to go as a side, but basically your plate is filled with protein, with meat. And a person went in there purposefully as a vegan and demanded that they have a vegan menu.
He's probably following the American dream, You gotta sue somebody. You gotta get into an accident by a big corporation, or you gotta.
It's like the guy that slips on something at a grocery store. It's ridiculous.
Or the McDonald's lady that burned herself
with the coffee.
Yeah, and she made millions of dollars that way.
See, that to me and to everyone else, I'm sure that doesn't tell me that you're trying to fight for the rights of the vegan community. That's not what you're doing. You're just acting like an ass so that your voice can be heard once. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, to their defense, Lonnie, they're stinking rich like now, so.
Well, I don't know if I'd ever. I'd probably stoop pretty low to get money, but I don't think I'd go that low.
Well, I mean, but that's the thing. Like, if I mean, I would do it if I burn my fucking mouth and there's no caution or whatever. I'd be like, "Yep, this is my ticket."
See, sometimes I question whether we should be friends or not, but.
Whatever.
Then you smile, and I remember why I love you.
You know what? You would remain my friend. You know why? Because I'd be your rich friend. You'd be like, yeah, I don't agree with the guy, but fuck, trip to the Bahamas is a trip to the Bahamas.
Did I ever tell you about what I did on Facebook a long time ago?
Nah, show your wiener.
No, it wouldn't fit in the page. No, what I did once was I decided to do a little experiment, and it was kind of evil, but I feel no regret. What I did was I made up this stupid lie about going to Vegas for the weekend. I wasn't going. This is all a lie. So I was setting it up. So a couple of days go by, and I reposted something saying that I won. I forget what it was, but it was a few $1 million on progressive slots.
Oh.
And
I like this going.
Yeah, and I posted that saying it was super exciting, I can't believe this is happening, and then I just ended it, and that was where I left it. I didn't even look at it until we got, until I think I got home from work or something, and I look at it and I have tons of messages and comments, not just comments on the post, but messages, like private messages from all of these people, friends and family.
Oh, dude! Please don't tell me they were asking you for money.
No. None of them went that far. Most of them were, "Hey man, it's been a long time. What you been up to?" Like, "Hey dude, I was just thinking about you. I saw you on my Facebook page the other day, and I thought I'd give you a ring." It's like, really? It's pretty convenient, And I ended up cleaning out my friends list pretty extensively that day. I was just like, wow. I didn't even say that I was lying. I just left it. I was like, whatever. It was just an interesting little experiment, just to see how people would react.
Well, you know what they say about money, right? Money brings up whatever, or it amplifies whatever qualities you already have.
Yeah, that's why, the vast majority of people that buy lottery tickets are in lower income. That's just fact. And that's a way to tax the poor. Because since you can't tax a certain, income, the lowest income, they have lottery, and that's how they, get taxes from these people. Pretty much, is these people go out and buy lottery tickets, but then
they can write them off. They didn't. I don't know if you know that, but
yes,
you can write the lottery.
Yes.
Like a lot of people don't know that.
But
the write off.
But yeah, like if you have this guy that say. I'm not talking about all low income. I'm talking about the small percentage of people that don't work just because they don't want to fucking work. Like that person is kind of a piece of shit already because they refuse to go out and get a real job. And then they win the lottery. It's not like all of the sudden their persona or their character is, they're going to become noble one day because they won millions of dollars. And they're not going to go out and find a fiduciary and, learn how to spend their money wisely. It's like, no, let's go buy like 10 Ferraris and, a $2 million home and just go spend a bunch of money on partying. And Goes right back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's they have studies about it, and that I think like lottery winners, if their blueprint doesn't allow them to like say like I deserve this money, they go fucking broke within like 2 or 3 years or so.
Oh yeah. And
they're actually worse off than before they bought the lottery ticket.
now I'm not going to be hypocritical. I still every now and then, like once or twice a year, I'll buy a lottery ticket.
I buy one like once a week, dude.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, I do it with the expectation that I'm not going to win, but it would be really cool if it happened, right? It's
well,
not
then
like,
you'll never win. You should be with the expectation like I'm gonna get Zumi out of being poor.
yeah, but I forget who it was. It said something like the odds of you winning the lottery are greater than you getting attacked by a brown bear and a polar bear in the same day. It's ridiculous.
But there's a chance.
But there's a chance.
See, all I'm saying is, Lonnie, next time you buy a ticket, just buy it with the intention of getting me out of being broke.
Okay. Well, I've already thought about it. If I was to win the lottery, I'd pass off a mill.
Here's the thing too. If you can't be happy with $10, you're not gonna be happy with 10 million.
I'd like to try.
At the end of the day, you gotta just look in the mirror and realize that, maybe you're just a fucking asshole and that's why people don't like you. And money is just not gonna make it, it's not gonna make it better,
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure everybody else is the asshole and they, don't like me for ridiculous reasons.
Well, here's the thing. Go buy your lottery ticket, go ahead and win $10 million, and then find out how much of an asshole you really are.
I'd probably cut off a lot of people.
Yeah, there you go. So,
but people like me don't win the lottery. It just doesn't happen.
It does happen.
Very, very rarely.
Well, remember when, I don't know if you were with me and Manas when this happened in Kyrgyzstan, but I looked at the news and this guy from Texas won, I think, 70 million.
It's not bad.
Super Bowl. And they were talking about taking away his money because he was a level 4 sex offender. Or stage 4 sex offender, which is the worst one. That's actually you molested a little kid.
Yeah. And
they caught you and you went to jail for it. So
you say we just take your money and call it even?
No, I'm saying at the time, part of me was saying like, there's no fucking justice in this world, right?
Yeah.
That's not just. But here's the thing: the guy bought the lottery ticket. I didn't.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I know, and like I said, at the time, like I was like, there's no fucking justice in this world. How can a fucking pedophile like win the lottery and stuff? But then I'm like, well, I mean, the guy bought the ticket.
Well, it's not like it's the first time that's ever happened in history. We did have Michael Jackson.
Allegedly, he was cleared of it. I'm not gonna go down that route, but I'm just saying.
It's pederast.
There's probably worse people out there that have come to large amounts of money, and they don't say anything.
Hillary
right?
Clinton. Oh God.
But like one of my pseudo teachers has this posted these words from a Zen master once, and it said, don't think that the being just is the right thing, because you can shove your thumb up your butt and it'll fit just, but it's not necessarily the correct thing to do.
Speaking about butts, you wanted to ask me something about a previous occupation I have held.
Yes, and it's not going to be so. So for those guys listening, if you're eating, like you should probably stop right now because
I suggest it.
so Lonnie used to work as a janitor for a certain company, and well here's the thing, here's the premise, because I mean you would think like, all right, that everybody does their job, but the one factor that makes this or this story interesting is that you work for a union company, right?
Yes.
And that means that the guys that work or the employees don't necessarily have the same don't answer to the same people that the janitors do,
Well,
right? So there's no
technically,
like,
in some ways, yes.
so that caused a lot of problems for you, right?
Yes. But I'd say the one thing that was the most interesting fact, and this is a fact, that I realized when working as a janitor for this company was... Now, okay, well, let me preface it by saying all of the restrooms that I had to take care of were used exclusively by employees of the company. Now, you would expect that it would be a cleaner environment because you work with these people, right?
So the janitors technically don't use those restrooms.
I was an employee.
Oh, okay. So the janitors are considered employees.
Yes.
It's not
What
like
the
they're considered
fuck?
like a separate. No, dude.
This isn't Mexico.
Just saying. Just saying.
No, they consider us real people. It's
Okay.
interesting. I'm not saying it's
Yeah,
right, but it's interesting.
You don't get treated like real people.
No, we don't. At least not by most. I'd say that about any service job, though. But the interesting thing, like I said, is that all of the people that were using these restrooms were employees, and the overarching fact that I realized that was just shocking to me is that women are way more disgusting than men. And I'm sorry, ladies, anybody listening. That's just the way it was. Every single day, I would always start with the women's bathroom because I wanted to get it out of the way. Because, okay, men are dirty. Yes, they pee everywhere. It was all over the floor, but that's easy to clean. Honestly. I mean, you just spray, wipe, mop, and then it's done. But with women, I had to wear 2 sets of gloves, had to wear, clothing, because there are things that women have.
Did you put a hazmat suit on?
No, but there's times that I thought about it. But women, like I said, have issues that men don't. I think we all know what I'm talking about. And there was always this in every stall, there was this little cubby thing that held it was this disposal for this material, for this paraphernalia. And for some reason, women didn't think they needed to use that. Or use a wax bag to put their item into. So they would just throw it in there. If they were going to throw it in there with all the clean bags, they would just throw it in on top. Or they would just throw it on the back of the seat or on the floor.
Oh, man. That's fucking gross.
And it's not like this was a rare occurrence. This was like, at least once a month I would get one of these. And the other thing is that women, you think you're cleaner than men. I was cleaning a lot more shit stains off of those toilet seats than I was in the men's room. I'm just saying.
What's the grossest thing that you found there?
I think you know this one, but it's one day.
I know, but they don't.
Now I will say, ladies, I'm going to let up on you a little bit because this happened in the men's room. Here we go. I go into the men's restroom, and there's a handicap stall, about twice as big as a regular stall, and I'm cleaning around the toilet, wiping down, And off to the right of the toilet, on the floor, standing straight up, is a dildo. A rubber dildo. And not only is there a dildo in the men's room, which, you know, you do what you want in your private time, but do it at home. However, but this dildo, standing straight up on the floor, was covered. And when I say covered, I mean covered. I couldn't tell what the top portion of the color of the was covered in human fecal matter.
Oh, fuck.
And that's the day that I called that. Well, at this company that I was at, they did have a hazmat crew, and I called security to call them, and they took care of it. They came in with nifty nabbers, you know, like those little claw thingies that have like an extension rod on them. And they came in with that with like full garb on.
Oh, man. I can just imagine they're thinking like they're gonna pick something like biohazardous.
You're like, oh, we gotta go get some anthrax. You know?
This big fucking dildo and they're covered in shit. And they're just like...
They thought it was hilarious after they were done, but you know.
Oh, man.
Yeah. There's been other things, you know, but not quite as.
Did you ever find whose dildo?
No, I think there was like the don't ask, don't tell type policy on that one. It's like, okay, I'm pretty sure that it was referenced in a morning meeting, which I worked graveyard shift there, or swing shift. And I think that was part of one of their morning meetings was, you know, please refrain from bringing any type of items.
Sexual.
Yeah. You know, into work and leaving them at work, you know.
Jeez, like, dude, this is not your fucking room for you to...
What's the most amazing thing to me about that is that this had to have happened during a time of day that was heavily populated in the building.
You know what? There's probably some kinky asshole out there.
No pun intended.
That, you know how they get like those girls' underwear? They have a dildo or a vibrator, and
Sure.
like they control it via like text message or whatever.
Yeah, but this thing was like 9 inches, man. That's, you know. I know. I measured it next to mine. It was smaller.
Hopefully you didn't get covered in shit, though.
Oh no, I had a good 3-inch separation. You know?
Oh man, that's pretty fucked up, though, Lonnie.
Yeah, it's the way it goes, I guess.
So what's the grossest thing you found in the girls' janitor in the girls' restroom?
Well, there's
You find
always
There too?
in any what?
Any dildos in there too?
No, never found any sexual objects of any kind, no toys. But the most disgusting thing has always been, I've told you that I've found, you know, female products, you know, used female products. But the most disgusting thing I've ever seen was there was actually, I don't know how this happens, I'm not going to even ask, but I've seen if you're eating, you need to stop. Just putting that out there. I saw a blowout. Or I guess it was a blowout. It was a heavy leak on the back of the toilet of that time of month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say I saw an abortion in there, but I was like, nah, that's hardcore.
Nothing quite that intense. Yeah. It looked like it at first, but not quite, you know.
That'd be a little bit too much, I think.
I might cry. Well, hey, Zumi. We got our first few questions.
We did.
Well, let's get into it before we start getting into the other stuff, because, well, let's start off with one, and I don't know if we should use real names.
I don't think so.
Well, let's see. Oh, we got a lot, at least 4 or 5. Let's see. We'll start off with, we'll call her...
I think we should just mention if it's a male or a female or somewhere in between.
This one is a female, and we'll call her K.
Okay.
Kay asks, men have always had an unexpected role from women over the years. Oh, God. For the most part...
Wait. An unexpected role?
No, an expected.
Oh, an expected role. Okay.
An expected role of women over the years. For the most part, it's being the provider. What?
Okay.
Women being the provider?
No. It's the other way around.
Oh,
like,
okay. I got it. I get it. Men have always had this expectation.
yeah.
Okay. For the most part, it's being the provider. Up until about 20 to 30 years ago, women were stay-at-home moms. Are there expected roles from women that I'm just not aware of? Or have women become so demoralized, so individualistic, so desensitized from men, they can do whatever they want and that's just how it goes? Have they themselves set themselves apart from men thinking they can do whatever, be whatever, and make whatever they want? And she has a side note asking feminism, how fucked up is that? What feminism is today is not feminism from yesterday. Now it's just sexism. That's pretty, okay, so
Yes.
with the feminism part, yes, I agree that feminism, when it began, I would say like the strongest point of feminism. Not talking about like 1800s when they were asking to vote. I'd say the bra burning era was that like the 70s, in the 80s maybe.
I don't know, dude. My American history is not that great.
Well, you're Mexican.
You
You
can
get a
ask,
pass.
you can ask me about Mexican history, so.
Well, I would say yes, that feminism is not what it used to be. Nowadays, it is just my opinion, and I've heard it before, from other people saying is that feminism now is just basically them wanting equality, but on their terms. They want certain things. They want to cherry pick.
Did you see that now they're gonna force women to register for the draft?
I saw something that they were going to try, or gonna push that.
So it's not a done thing then.
Oh, I don't know, because this was like a year ago when I saw this, so I don't know what the recency is.
Well, I think I just read it like a couple days ago saying that they were gonna, or that was, I don't know if it was an argument or if that's what's going to happen, but I was like, oh, I mean, that makes sense, right? If you're gonna be, if it's really about being equal,
well, that's never what it ends up like.
Well,
and I'm not
the
gonna
argument
say...
the argument was that then you're making a woman's service or what I said less valuable than a man's service. Like you should draft equally because otherwise you're just saying that women are useless when it comes to like war. And
well,
I mean they're not like Russian, like the Russian snipers, they were all women and they fucking kicked ass. So
yep.
But here's like, and I'll paraphrase Bill Burr's stand up. It's like, the thing about feminism is that they only want to be feminists when it's convenient. And it's like, and he's talking about like, why do I get the dollar more an hour? And it's because in a ransom situation,
the Titanic situation.
It's always women and children first.
Or in a house fire.
Yeah, but and at the same time, I think men are to blame because they don't have any fucking balls anymore. Like we produce less testosterone than a guy from the 50s.
Yes, but wouldn't you say that that's like a vicious circle with both sides being at fault? Because it used to be women wanted a masculine man who took charge and commanded and all that stuff, and then it became, they got sick and tired of that, the hairy working men, now they want the sensitive man.
I disagree. They never got tired of it.
Then what is it?
No. Well, here's that men are dumb. Here's the thing.
Well, we are.
Yeah, we are fucking dumb. Like, and I've always said this. Like, you don't fucking go with what a woman says. You go with what a woman does. So she may say, "I want a sensitive guy," and this and that, right?
Sure.
And it's completely fine. You can be a sensitive guy once she's your girlfriend or your wife. You don't do that fucking shit when you're pursuing. When you're pursuing, you want to be that alpha male. You want to be that guy that's centered, and you're not going to be pushed out of your centered. A woman will respect you more if you're true to your word.
Well,
That's why women tend to go for the bad boys or whatever, because when they come, they approach, they're more honest, or they seem more honest than, the guy that's gonna be like play the nice guy card. Like, you come off as a fucking a creepy motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, getting back to what she asked, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I agree for the most part, but with feminism nowadays, I would say feminism now is probably not the best thing for women, because feminism now, like, I'm not talking about true feminism. I mean, like, the commercialized feminism is poisonous.
So it's like religion then, like the organized religion.
Yes.
So it's organized feminism, the one that's fucking up.
Yes.
But but you can be a feminist. You can fight for your rights. You can
Absolutely.
like I'm all for it. And you should also, accept that because you're a feminist, things are going to be asked from you that, normally weren't asked in the past. So yeah, there was an expected role way back then, because it was a little bit more defined, right? The balance was more inclined towards the man's side, and it's like, yeah, I'm the provider, you're the stay-at-home mom. But here's the thing: like, back in the 50s, you were able to form a family on just minimum wage. You were able to buy a house with just one salary. Nowadays,
you can't do that.
You try and do that, dude, you will go broke in the first year of your marriage.
The thing that I see now is that, honestly, I have no problem, and I don't think you do. I have no problem with a woman being in the infantry, or a woman being a fireman, or a police officer, or being an athlete, or anything like that. I have no problem with a woman trying out for the NFL, honestly. The only thing that I would say is that you have to be able to meet the standards that the other individuals that are in that profession have set to be the standard. So if you have to run a mile and a half in, 14 minutes, then if they have to do that, then that's what you have to do. It can't be catered just because of your gender, just like nothing can be catered for a man if he's going into a typically all-female role. Say, like, if we'll go back to the stereotypical one, being a stay-at-home dad. You are expected that just because you're a dad doesn't mean you get to just have fun and play video games with your kids all day when you're at home and your wife or girlfriend or whatever is at work. You can't just do that. When you're a stay-at-home dad, you have to do what she was doing as a stay-at-home mom. You have to be able to meet the standards of the given profession. So, like, I have no problem with a woman being in the infantry, but she has to be able to run the mile and a half at the same time as these guys. She has to be able to do as many push-ups, as many sit-ups. She has to be able to fire her firearm correctly and accurately and efficiently.
And clean it.
Yes, and clean it.
That's right.
Oh, I hate cleaning my guns. But yeah, it's one of those things. It's like feminism now will tell you that, they're better than us, or better than men in all of these areas. A woman can do it better. It's like, why do we even need to say that? Maybe she could, maybe she couldn't. Why don't we just make it like, you can do it, you just have to meet the standard? No big deal. You want to be in the NFL? Fine, you have to be able to take a hit. It's really simple. But the other question that she was asking was, let me see, individualistic. Let me break this down. Have women become so demoralized so individualistic and desensitized from men that they can do whatever they want, and that's how it goes. Okay, so she's asking, have women pretty much demoralized themselves or desensitized themselves so much that they will, walk all over men to get what they want? Or walk all over anybody?
I see. I sort of agree with that that statement.
I agree with it somewhat.
Well, it's like back when I was saying, right? Like it's the same thing that I was saying about just men being fucking idiots. Because here's what happens when as a guy you start saying, okay, yes, to everything that the woman says. You know, she stops taking you seriously, and she starts acting like the one that has, you know, the pants in the relationship.
Yeah.
So you're throwing. So one of the coaches that I follow calls it, you know, like being in your masculine energy or your feminine energy, and like the example that I use, it's like whenever they say, like, for example, what do you want to eat?
Yeah.
You know, she's pretty much throwing the baseball at you to make the decision and have that masculine energy to make the decision. And you can say whatever the fuck you want, and she'll probably go for it.
Yeah, and
right?
That's the thing.
But men, sorry, like, but when man goes, like, if they're too much in their feminine energy, a guy will go like, I don't know, honey, what do you want to eat? And it's like, I throw it back at her so that she makes a decision. So in essence, what you're saying is, I don't want to be the man right now. You be the man, woman.
That's a harsh reality. And I think the most frustrating thing is to hear a guy say, well, I suggested this restaurant and she said, no, I don't like that. She's not saying she will not go to the next one that you suggest. She's just saying she doesn't like that restaurant, just like you would if she said, hey, do you want to go here? And you say no.
Well, here's the thing. Like, and to that, I would say this: if you are a man that is centered, like, if she says no, then that's a test. To me, it's like, let's say, my wife tells me, like, what do you want to eat? And I say tacos. And if she says, I don't want tacos, if that's the test, her saying, I don't want tacos, it's a test for me to say, like, okay, how much of a man are you going to be right now?
Well, and it could be simple for you too. It could be just I really want tacos.
Well, yeah, I mean, well, and that's where I can go. And if I say, like, okay, then what do you want? Then I'm throwing it right back at her, right? Yeah. Masculine energy, like, you make the decision. But here's the thing: if you want to be centered, you just go and say, well, I'm having tacos. If you want some, you can come with me. If not, that's okay. But I'm having tacos because I made that decision, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, she ended up ordering something from the taco place. So,
well, it's an interesting question, and
so to answer that question, you know, I do think so, but I don't think it's a woman's fault for trying to be independent. I think it's a man's fault for, you know, pushing way too much masculine energy towards them, that at the end they're fucking frustrated as fuck, and they're like, like, this is not what I wanted when I said, you know, that I wanted to do these things. I still wanted you as a man. I didn't want, you know.
Oh, I get it.
I didn't want to start, like, you know, wearing the pants in the relationship all of a sudden. I still want to be a girl. So what's the next question?
Okay. Well, our next question comes from, we'll call him Drew. What are a couple of lies, myths, and misconceptions of the military? This was his first question. He has two. Lies, myths, and misconceptions of the military.
You're not going to read the second question?
Oh, I will, but it's completely different than the first. So.
Saltpeter.
Saltpeter.
Yes. A fucking myth.
Yes, you would think so, though. I mean, when you're in basic training, and I know a couple people asked that question because nobody could get an erection. I mean, you'd wake up, but of course you have to remember that
High levels of stress.
yes, basic training is probably not what people think it is. There's probably a lot of stuff that you would imagine being basic training. Now, granted, we were in the Air Force, and it's a lot different than, say, the Army or the Marines. Not much different than the Navy, but the Marines and the Army, they do things a little bit differently, but for the most part, they're pretty much all the same. There's some differences, but with basic training, I went in there kind of knowing, because I have, a lot of military in my family, and I was expecting to get yelled at the first time I got off the bus, so it was almost like, a relief when the first guy started yelling at me, because I was like, okay, now I know where I'm at, I can kind of get into it. But yes, with the whole saltpeter thing. Now, saltpeter, why don't you describe what that is?
Well, saltpeter supposedly is it's they kind of like they put something in the water in order for you to not get erections.
But they do that if they would do that for a reason. I'm not saying they do that, because I don't think they do. They do that for a reason. The reason being like the same they would do in prison. They don't want anybody getting fucked.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah, and you would think, like, yes, I can see where the stories come from, because there's no way, unless you're just really, really horny that day, and I don't even know how you could even focus on it. But there's no.
I had no fucking time to think about titties.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when you got to your first tech school, I think ours was Medina Annex at the same base at Lackland.
Yeah.
And like that's when you finally wake up in the morning. You're like, oh, there you are. After 6.5 weeks, you're like, oh, I still have one. Cool. But it was all due to, you're waking up at really early times of the morning. You're constantly under stress of some kind. And it's not always even bad stress. It's just like you're always on the go, no matter what. And
your adrenal glands are working like overtime.
Yeah.
You have like no fucking time to think about sex at all. Like I remember I got to march like right behind a bunch of females, and one of them had a really, really nice bud, and I was just like, I know I should be doing something with my brain right now, like fantasizing, but it's not working.
Oh yeah, we had one guy, and once again, not going to name names, but
Peter, no, I'm just kidding.
We had a sister flight who was, I think, might have been downstairs from us. I think we were on the top floor, and they were right below us, or at least across the way. Like the dorms were all separated, obviously, and then we had a sister flight. It was an all-female flight. I say flight, that just means a group of students, or recruits, rather. Our sister flight was just right across the way or upstairs from us, something like that. And, of course, you are in an isolated situation. You have the people around you, but, honestly, can you remember most of the people that you were in your flight with?
No.
And because there's so much stuff going on, there's no way for you to remember unless it was some key moment in that time you had there. But we had our sister flight, and I just had no desire whatsoever to even speak to them. It's just like, I just want to get through this. I want to get through the day so I can get back to my bed, and start it all up the next day. Just get through it. And yeah, so there's saltpeter, yes, big myth. Yeah, they didn't feed us saltpeter. What would be another misconception or a lie?
Well, I would say, like when you see the movies, you get all these these fucking guys that are like all patriotic and shit, and they talk about I joined because I wanted to defend my country, blah 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 blah. That's a really, really small percentage. Like most of the guys most of those guys are
huge douchebags
that we interacted. Yeah, most of the guys that we interacted with, they didn't want to fucking be there. They just saw it as a job.
Oh yeah, and then you had people that were joining because they were criminals, and that was the only way to get their sentence taken away.
right, like a fucking corporate cubicle job. Like you're like, I don't want to fucking be here.
Yeah.
uh, and it's so yeah. So that thing was one of the things where I mean, for me, it was culture shock because I've lived well, not most of my all of my life in Mexico, and then all of a sudden, like my first interaction with the States is boom, military.
Yeah.
And I grew up with war movies and stuff, and I'm thinking it's going to be a certain way, and then all of a sudden I'm hearing these people like they just talk so fucking negatively about everything.
Yeah.
And the way they express themselves about the military, and I'm just like man, like.
And then you have to realize you can't take any of it seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like I thought it was going to be like in the movie, like everybody's like all gun ho and stuff, and yeah, it ended up not being that way.
Well, I would say that I had some, shock when I went in just because it was a little bit different than what I thought it was going to be for the most part. I kind of knew, just like I said, because I have military in my family, and they were all telling me, it's not going to be that bad. You just do this, you get into the rhythm, and you'll be fine. It's kind of fun, actually. And it was the same exact way that they said it was going to be. It was like, once you get into basic training, it sucked for the first couple of weeks, and then you kind of got used to it. And then you actually kind of enjoyed going out for PT and, going to lunch and all that stuff and kind of going to your classes if you could stay awake, But it was enjoyable. I mean, the routine of it was fine. I mean, I would do basic training again, because it wasn't that bad. I mean, it's just basic training. You have to remember that it's just basic training. You want to talk about survival training? Now that's different.
Yeah, that motherfucker
POW training. POW training was fucking
again.
crazy. There's no way I'd ever do that shit again.
Well, here's another one that I think when I joined, I thought that you were under like a regimen like basic training even after you got out of basic training.
Oh yeah.
Meaning I thought I was gonna get shredded.
Oh, yeah. I totally thought the same way. Yeah.
Dude, no, like I never got a fucking six pack. I got clothes, I got a flat stomach, but no. So
how much weight did you gain after you left basic training?
Oh, dude, so much weight. See, when I got in, I was at 164. When I finished basic training, I was 128.
Oh yeah, I think I went in at 204 or 205. Because I'm a larger framed person, and that time I was running, like that. I was fresh out of high school doing cross country and everything, and I just have a big frame, so that was small for me. And then I got into basic training. I left at 174, so I had a huge head and a skinny body.
I got out with a 28-inch waist.
Damn,
that's
dude.
Fucking skinny, dude. Like right now, I'm a 33. 32, 34, depending on
How the fuck are you the same size as me?
Dude, I got fat. I got married.
Screw you too, but
I eat Mexican food, man.
You're like
tortillas.
A foot shorter than me. Well, maybe not that much. No, you're like a couple inches shorter.
So, but asshole, call me fat. But see, now I lost my train of thought where I was going.
Well, I was going to say the same thing you were, was the regiment, that it was going to continue after basic training. But I was going to say, the misconception would be that a lot of people think is that you're doing drill all the time or you're marching everywhere. It's like, dude, that's totally
like a job.
not true.
8 hours and it's done. Like you go home.
I mean, how many times after you got to your, like Fairchild, when you got to your first base, how many times did you actually do drill? I think I did it once, and that was for some weird like flag ceremony or something.
Yeah, and when you did it, like it wasn't as organized as basic training.
Yeah, it was terrible. Everybody had forgotten how.
Do anybody remember how to do this shit?
But remember that was the Air Force. I'm sure in the Marines it's a little bit more structured and stuff like that. But it's not much, because I've heard stories, and it's basically the same thing. Because you have to remember that, yes, it's the military. Yes, there's a lot of structure and a lot of organization and everything, but you have to remember that it's still a job, and people treat it like a job. and me going into the squadron was the same thing as you going into your office building. I mean, even if we were going to fly, it was like just another day. You know, it's not that, I mean, it might be cool for people on the outside to think about, and I really did think it was a cool job to go out and fly, but it was just another day. It's not as, you know, glorious and gung-ho as you'd think it would be. It's not like every day I wake up with God Bless America playing on my radio, you know. And I didn't have a high and tight haircut.
Oh yeah, that after a while, like you can just get away with a fade out.
Yep, I actually got not in trouble, but I got a talking to because I forgot to take a piercing out before I went on a flight. And it was like, hey, you know, you left something in. It's like, oh shit. You know, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's a lot less structured than you'd think it is, you know. But his other question is, what would you do? And this ties into one of our earlier discussions. What would you do if you won the lottery?
If I won the lottery?
Yep. And, you know, he doesn't specify, like, the size of the lottery. So I'm assuming he's not saying, like, if you won a $15 scratcher.
Which I have won before.
Yeah. A lot of people have. And I still get excited about that stuff.
I know.
But,
it's like I won $15, man.
Let's just say we'll say a median to high lottery win, like 250 mil. I think that's median about now because they're getting up to like
That's medium about now, dude.
Yeah.
The Super Lotto's only like at 50. What are you talking about?
No, the Powerball up here is like at 400. That's
Powerball?
Yeah,
at
that's
400?
that's like a regular now.
Really?
Yes.
I'm gonna. Well, it's nationwide, right? It's
Yes, Powerball should be national. Go ahead and give it a
Powerball.
look.
Let's see. Powerball. It's at 40 million right now.
Oh, 40 million? Well, then they
Yeah.
just won it. What was the last one?
I don't know.
You should be able to see the previous ones. Well, anyway, let's go with something, you know,
Well, the
moderate.
Super
Just say
Lotto's
50 mil. Just say 50 mil.
Super Lotto is the most common one, right?
Yes.
Like everybody, that's the one I play, the Super Lotto Plus. That's at 56 mil right now.
Okay, so it just started up pretty recently.
Right, so 56 mil, and you get to take in consideration taxes, so about half, right?
Yeah, about, yeah.
So that's what,
25.
28?
Just say 25
25.
mil.
So 25 after taxes. 25 million after taxes.
If you take the lump sum.
You have to take the lump sum.
They don't do the payments anymore?
Well,
Oh,
they
not
do,
for the
but,
big ones.
But you're gonna be they do, but
I don't think they do.
you'll be you'll lose.
Shit ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, people say like, oh, you save taxes. Like, don't fucking do that. Take the lump sum. get educated on how to invest, and you won't end up like those fucking guys from the documentaries that they lose their money in 4 years.
All those hicks out in like Alabama or Georgia, and they win it in there, but they're already meth heads. It's like this asshole just won the lottery.
Yeah. So before, I actually go into like what I do, that's what I would recommend. So if you play the lottery and if you win, don't be a fucking asshole and buy like a $3 million house when you're going to pay a property tax of $1 million a year. That's stupid.
Yep.
Just buy a regular house.
Enjoy it.
Yeah, regular real estate, and
something you can take care of yourself.
Exactly, something that's not going to like just drain your money.
Because you're probably not going to be working. You're probably going to be home a lot.
And but a lot of people don't see that. People think that when they win the lottery, it's like, oh, I get money, and it's like, no, you pretty much get you're getting a 25 million business.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more like you're getting a test. It's like a personal test to see how fucked up you can make your life. But honestly, would you quit your job right away?
I would.
Right away?
Right away.
See, I've asked this question to a lot of people, and I wouldn't quit. I would wait it out. Now, when I say I wouldn't quit, that doesn't mean I would do my job.
Well, I mean, I know it. I know it takes about 4 months for you to get the lump sum.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm concerned about. I think it's more of like I would enjoy my time. Let's just say that I would enjoy my last days at my current employment in the way that I see fit, but not so much to be a dick. I would just
see. This is why I wouldn't do it. I get what you're getting from or coming from, but the reason why I would quit immediately is because at that point I'm taking a spot that somebody else could be using to get paid.
And I feel like I'm saving someone else for the time being.
No. See, I would quit immediately. And out of let's say I have 25 million, so you 10% is what I'm spending.
Yeah.
So that's what 2.5. So 2.5. Shit, that's a fucking lot of money.
That's all I would need.
And ass play money.
Yeah.
Like yeah, I don't think I can blow out 2.5 million
Well,
like
that's
as
what I
play
mean.
money.
It's like being where you are, your situation in life now, like being pretty, kind of similar to mine. Like where we are at stages in life, right? Got kids, got a wife, have a place to live, all that stuff, have a, at least moderately stable job. It's, I think that at this point in my life, it's really hard for me to take what I call a large amount of money, saying like $1,000, and just dropping it on something. See, because I go into a store, and if I'm going to drop $1,000, there's going to be a long period of me thinking about that transaction before I make that transaction.
Yeah.
It's not like when I was in the military when I just didn't give a shit. I'd just go drop $1,000 and be like, yeah, whatever. And even though I couldn't spend that much,
Right.
Now it's like
Right.
even the cars that I look at it, even if I was, I would say I probably still wouldn't go out and buy a bunch of cars. I'd probably buy one nice car, brand new, and then the rest of my cars would probably be second owner, just because that's who I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like the one thing I would definitely do is buy a modest real estate. Because I definitely want my kids to have something, and it's kind of like one of those things where, why, if I can afford it, then I shouldn't rent. Like, by all means, I do feel that in the long run, renting is easier than buying.
Yeah.
If you live in the States. So the one thing I would do is real estate. I definitely travel.
Hell yes.
And the whole thing, the whole charity thing. I know some people are gonna be like, oh well, it's like you can't if you don't do charity. Yeah, bullshit.
Yeah.
I would do it. I would do it once a year just so I can get, the tax write-up. And that's
totally not what I
thing.
expected.
And that's the smart thing to do.
Yes, and it also keeps the IRS off your ass.
Yeah. So, I mean, because you definitely want to invest the money. You want the money to act as passive income once you get it. But you are going to be taxed on that income that you make. So that's why you want to separate your charity work or your charity donations throughout years and not just do like automatic 10%. Like here's 5 million St. Jude's Hospital. No, you're going to get 5 million throughout, the years that I'm living, and that's the smart thing to do. Like I said, you don't have $25 million. You have a $25 million business.
Well, I think it kind of sucks because like the question is probably asking us like what kind of cool stuff would we do. Now, I know that it sucks because we're boring, because we would probably take a very modest approach to this because we'd be like, yes, there's some nice things that we would get. But it's, like I said, I'm at that stage in my life where it'd be like, yes, this is cool, but it also has to be handled wisely.
I'm gonna hire Hillary Clinton to do a speech on an empty stadium.
She does that already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she takes $300,000, right?
Yeah.
For doing a speech. Yeah, so she's gonna do it in an empty stadium.
Think about that. Say $300,000 for a 30-minute speech. How much is that per minute?
A lot of fucking money.
More than I have.
More than I make a year right now. Probably.
But yeah, I think what I would do is probably the first thing I would do is probably, at least hire some type of fiduciary service or, an accountant of some kind that not handles my money, but helps me with my money, like investing at least. And I'd probably get a house and not a huge one. I want something that I can take care of. I have a issue with other people taking care of my shit. Like I want to be able to mow my own lawn, but,
well, you're not going to get some Mexicans to do that for you?
That's what I have you for.
And I totally would too.
But I always thought it would be cool, and I know that it would cost me a little bit, is to have a butler. And I know it's cliche, I really do, but I've always wanted, like ever since I was a kid and I used to watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I've always wanted a butler that was like actually part of the family type of butler. And I know that's hard to come by. I understand that, like especially a British, professionally and classically taught butler.
I was gonna say, like, so if we veered this question towards cool shit, I would hire Morgan Freeman for a day to narrate my entire day.
And you'd record it, video and audio.
Yeah, so it'll be kind of like March of the Penguins, except it's gonna be me, the March of Zumi, we'll call it.
What about James Earl Jones?
No, I want Morgan Freeman.
What about Bill Burr? That would be fucking hilarious.
I don't think he would do it. I think he would give me the finger and be like,
what if you offered him 50 grand?
Yeah, he probably wouldn't do it.
100.
I don't think he would do it. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy,
500,000. I would do it. Shit.
Yeah, but who are you, Lonnie?
I'm nobody.
There you go.
But I think with cool shit, like I would say the car that I would probably get is some type of Corvette, either from, just because it's always been my favorite car, and I know it's not the top end. I understand that. It's just the car that I'm in love with. It's like a 1977 Corvette Stingray, or one of these brand new 2016 Z06. I mean, that might be something that I'd spend a little money on. But other than that, I mean, other than like a couple flat screens in my house and stuff,
I would say that the one thing I would definitely not do is get a BMW. So I don't want to be an asshole.
Only assholes drive BMWs.
Yep.
And from the way that this guy is wording his question, I'm pretty sure he owns a BMW. Don't stop writing in questions, please.
Oh man.
We did have go ahead.
Oh no. I was gonna say, like, what's next? What's on the menu? I think we.
Well, we got one more question.
People are probably gonna listen to this and they're gonna be like, "God, these fucking guys are morons." Like,
well, we are.
I would probably do this and this and this and this cool shit. Or I'll invest in trying to get a robot arm installed.
In your own, as your own arm, like Anakin?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
I don't know.
We did have one more question. I mean, if you want to go on to this, it shouldn't take too long. Let me see. This is from Kay again. And Kay asks, she says, what is your guys' biggest shit story? Oh my god. Your biggest shit story, girth or length. I'm assuming she means shit, not penis size. Did you have, which by the way is girth and length. At
the same time.
Did you have anything special to get it to go down or to get it to come out? Okay. Did you have to do anything special to get it to come out, pretty much? And did it hurt? Was it relieving? Biggest shit story. What's the biggest shit you've ever taken, Zumi?
Biggest shit?
Biggest shit.
I don't have a... That's not the kind of stories I have.
Well, see, I've had a few of them, and I can't really say or pinpoint the largest piece of feces I have, expelled from my body. But I will say that I've had a few, and I know I've had a few that are pretty long. The ones that kind of like snake around the bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the soft serve. Those aren't bad. So I would say length isn't really an issue. I would say girth is the worst. Like when you get a nice hefty, Jabba the Hutt turd. Those things, like the ones that, give you a fissure in your asshole. And it's always big at the bottom, but it's like tapered off at the end, like a pine cone.
Dude, well, I gotta, the Jabba the Hutt turd just reminded me of a story that I have of my brother.
Oh God.
So my brother used to work for this company that did the mowing and stuff. Like their traditional Mexican job. You're a gardener.
Sure, yeah.
So his what he used to do is have the blower. So he has the so he's carrying the blower around and another guy is cutting and he's just blowing the leaves and getting them together and then piling up and putting them in the trash or whatever. Yeah, you seen those guys?
I've seen those guys. Yes.
So here's the problem though. Like when they go to their areas or their section where they're doing, there's really no restrooms. I mean, if you're lucky, you'll have a gas station across the street. So if you gotta go to the fucking gas station, or you just gotta hold it up until you come back.
Sure. So
that's why I never went to work with them, because I'm like, dude, I gotta take at least like 2 shits during the 8-hour period job. Like,
amen.
Like if I'm not gonna like there's no fucking way. Like, So, anyways, he's blowing the fucking leaves, and he's like, "Fuck, I gotta shit." And,
I've said that a lot. Yes. Yeah.
And the uniform that they have, it's like kind of like these khaki or Dickies type brand pants, and they're that thick material.
Sure. Like the canvasy type.
Yeah. So he's wearing boxers, right? Which is a good thing for him. And so he's like, God damn, I gotta shit. And he's like holding it. And he's like, oh, he gets one of those things where like, you just freeze. You don't move.
Oh yeah.
Because if you move, you're going to shit your pants, right?
Yes.
But he's trying to hold it back. He can't fucking hold it back anymore.
That's when you push people over.
But here's the thing. He said, it felt hard. Like a fucking rock.
Yeah.
That was coming out. And he's like, oh my God, like, no. Like, oh my God. And he's shitting his pants at this point. He's standing up with a blower. And the fucking turd comes out perfectly like a fucking banana. It just drops down his pants. It travels down his leg. So he kind of does like how like the dogs lift their legs and they just kind of shake it.
Yeah.
He shakes the turd out.
Like Andy Dufresne getting rid of the dirt from his cell. He
grabbed the leaf blower and just blows it out of the corner. He said
blows the turd.
He blew the turd out of the way.
Oh my God.
And he just continued working.
Work doesn't stop when you shit your pants.
So he goes. They go back to they're at the shift ends. Goes back to work, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I better wipe my ass."
Oh God.
It's clean.
Oh, so it was that hard.
It was that hard.
So it didn't leave marks,
He looked at his pants and their pants were clean.
We call those carbon fiber turds.
It just magically disappeared.
You sure he just didn't sweat it down his leg?
Dude,
possible.
like that's what he told me, right? I'm just telling the story how it was told to me, but just the fact that he fucking shook his leg, I'm like,
Ugh.
get out of here. I'm like, you're the most fucking disgusting person I know right now.
I will say it's not my story. Like I said, I can't remember a specific moment. I'm sure I've had some really bad ones, but the one story is not mine. It's it's one from my uncle. My uncle is a pastor, and he had one church that he was the senior pastor of. And his thing is he starts up churches, he starts them up and then assigns a senior pastor, and then he moves on to the next one, kind of builds up whatever. Well, there was this one that he had just started up, and because he was the one starting up these churches, he did a lot of the jobs within the facility at the church. So one of those things was he had to kind of be the janitor, so he had to go and clean the bathrooms since there was only 2 bathrooms at this facility. He would, after sermon every Sunday, a couple hours would go by, and then he'd go into the bathrooms, clean them. He'd do some other stuff like vacuuming in the sanctuary or whatever, and then he'd go home. Well, he went to go clean the women's bathroom again. And what he says is that he looked down in this toilet, and this turd looked like a small loaf of bread. Now, and the way he describes it, and I know you can't see me, so I'll say, oh geez, let's say a baseball. We'll say about 3 baseballs held together side by side. That's how big this thing was. Now, he says, of course, this thing has been sitting in the toilet for a while, like a couple of hours, but it hasn't been long enough to where this thing has soaked up so much water that it grew that big, right? So,
like a sheep.
Yeah, I mean, it did fuzz up a little bit, but not that much. Just the outside, not the core. But he says this thing was so big that it couldn't be flushed. That's why it was left in the toilet.
Also, it wasn't breaking?
No, it wasn't breaking. So he said that he wasn't going to use his brush, that he uses to clean the bowls to do it. But he's like, I got to find a way to get rid of this thing, before tomorrow when, other employees come in and a woman wants to use the bathroom, because apparently there was only the one stall in each bathroom. And he's like, all right, so I gotta cut this thing. I gotta get rid of it. So he went to his office and got a wire clothes hanger, kind of bent it up, and he sliced this thing until it finally flushed down. And he goes, no, I never brought that up in a sermon. He didn't want to embarrass anybody. He goes, but it was pretty impressive. You look in there, you're like, whoa. He goes, I was surprised there wasn't any blood.
Oh, man.
I just can't imagine 3 baseballs. Just think of that. He said, a small loaf of bread. If you take into account 2 to 3 hours of it soaking in water, it's still not going to grow that much, right? From the saturation. So that thing originally was probably tennis balls, right? 3 tennis balls. I know we're doing weird poop physics right now, but that's okay.
I can't. How did this conversation steer to the physics and the chemistry?
Yeah, we should figure that out. If there's any mathematicians out there that would like to take on this task, I would like to know the physics and the math that goes into how much water does a turd of a certain size, certain girth, weight, height, length, width. How much water does it take on within a 3-hour period? Depending on the content of the turd and the meal of the owner.
Oh man, people are probably like just clicking off by now. Fucking assholes. Just ruined my sandwich.
My wife just told me that we can order pizza till 2:00. Oh, get some. I'm gonna text her back. Get some fucking pizza. All right, I might be getting pizza.
I hope it comes out nice and soft for you.
Oh my god. Can you imagine shitting something that size?
No, no.
I think I might die.
I think I'll take a picture and then die. Just so there's evidence that it came out of me, you know?
Oh, God. Now, talking about shit, you know, we do have a movie you probably are going to consider to be shit. And that's Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Now, you already know, and probably a lot of people out there who have listened to our previous podcasts may know. I'm not sure if I've ever talked about it. I'm the biggest Star Wars fan ever. Well, at least that I know. And Zumi is not. Now, not that he doesn't like the originals.
I love the originals.
Yes, the originals are classics. I don't understand how anybody couldn't like them. Or at least I can say I don't understand how anybody could hate them. Let's just say that. Now, the prequels, I will agree with you on some things. And the newest movie, The Force Awakens, I will agree with you on some things. Now, there's this new movie, and I want you to explain to people what you have told me, why you don't want to watch this movie. Or at least why you won't watch it in the theater.
Okay, I already told you, I don't like what, I see where Disney is going, and I don't fucking like that direction. I'm sick and tired of the main characters having accents, especially British accents. Nothing against the Brits, but fuck me, dude. Like, every fucking main character has to have an accent.
But you have to say that every single film that has to do with a foreign race.
No. Here's the thing, though. Like, why you're not sticking with your source material. And in your source material, your main characters did not all have fucking British accents.
Yes, but if you go back to the original Star Wars films, especially A New Hope, almost the entirety of the secondary cast and the backup cast or background cast, every single one of them had a British accent because they filmed it in England.
All right. Forget about the British accent. Every other fucking side character, you got the Muslim guy. You know what
He's not
missing?
Muslim. He's
Muslim.
No,
I did that.
I was going to say Middle Eastern, but whatever.
No, I did that deliberately.
So we identify races by their common religions now.
You don't see the fucking Mexican in there now, do you?
No, we don't see the Catholics in there.
Right. and then you don't see like Forrest Whitaker, the accent he's doing. It's like, dude, like, come on. Like, dude, all you need is a Jamaican.
Do you know the character?
You just need a Jamaican guy in there to, like, spice things up, you know? And it's like, no, it's like, dude, stop shoving this diversity bullcrap down my throat and just get people that, get it with, stick with the source material. If you're gonna use British people, then just fucking use British people. Don't fucking do the thing like trying to pretend like, oh, look at how Disney hires minorities.
Yeah,
that's what it is, and it's in essence that's what it is. And aside from that, going to why I think Rogue One is gonna suck, I saw a picture of Jar Jar.
I don't think they're gonna have Jar Jar, but whatever.
I don't care. Even if he does a cameo, I don't fucking care. That just ruins the movie completely.
Now, I would say, why can't you just go into a movie and not watch any of the trailers? Since you have all these problems, why can't you just...
I have watched movies without watching the trailer. This one just happened that I watched the trailer and I thought, you know what? I'm going to give Star Wars another chance. And then they came out with the bigger trailer and I'm just like, you know what? I don't need prequels. I don't need prequels to a prequel. I'm looking at you, new Han Solo movie.
Yeah, I don't agree with that movie. That is something that I will say that I really, really hope fails before it even begins, so they don't actually do it. Is the spin-off films that are centered around a character like Han Solo, because to me, as a huge Star Wars fan, that is complete heresy. Harrison Ford is Han Solo, and Billy
Not anymore.
D. Williams is Lando Calrissian. I'm sorry, that's just the way it should stay. You can't, when you have a movie like Star Wars, or a series of movies like Star Wars, where the characters stay constant, and the actors are the same actors, and it's an epic film that breaks records, that has a huge following, you can't just go back and make a story about a character that was in those movies with a different actor. You can't do it. To me, that's just so offensive. That's just that. I mean, that's my opinion. There might be some other people out there that have a different opinion, but I have to tell you, you're wrong. Because if you're okay with seeing a Han Solo film with someone other than Harrison Ford, then I don't want to be your friend. I'm sorry. That's just so bad on so many levels.
So yeah, Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Yeah, probably not gonna
in theaters,
watch it.
December 16th.
I'm not gonna watch it.
Well, fuck you, I'm gonna watch it.
It just fucking pissed me off, dude. That and this is I'm probably not being like completely fair with Rogue One, because this is probably residue of what the Force Awakens did for me, and
I'm not even gonna get into that with you.
You are, because
No,
because screw you. Like, #1 movie in America, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking showing this on 12 out of 14. Like, you have 12 out of the 14 shows with Star Wars in it. It's like, of course you're gonna be the #1 fucking movie in America. That's the only movie to watch.
yeah, but like I said, I'm not going to get into it with you because I really, really enjoyed that movie. It had its problems, just like every other movie, but I'm not going to. That's it,
buddy. It sucked. It was watching A New Hope again.
No, that's where I say you don't understand.
You just rehashed the first fucking movie because you knew it would work, and you didn't.
But every film in the Star Wars saga does that at some degree.
No, they don't.
Yes, they
All right.
do.
Empire Strike Back.
You really want to get into this with me?
Yes. I'm gonna get into it. Tell me, where did they rehash Empire Strike Back?
Oh, dude, what are you talking about? That was the Clone Wars.
So that's the new movie, right?
Yes. And then you had the same type of storyline go through Return of the Jedi, Episode 6, which was also the same type of story in A New Hope.
How was it? How was Return of the Jedi?
Every single film has the same structure. Every single film, even the prequels, have the same structure, have the same base that they use in every single film.
So in essence, what you're saying is that A New Hope is a rehash of...
No. I'm saying Empire Strikes Back.
Sorry.
There's no rehash. They just use a certain structure that you don't like.
So you're saying they're not creative? You just proved my fucking point, Lonnie.
No, I'm saying they're creative, just not in the way that you like.
My argument has been that they use the same fucking movie, and I'm watching A New Hope.
I think you're too close to the subject.
The same thing, and you just validated what I'm saying.
No, I validated it in your mind.
No, you didn't.
We'll just agree to disagree, even though you're wrong. We'll just agree to disagree.
You're gonna go back, listen to this, and you be like, "Oh shit, I fucked up. I'm just gonna edit this shit out."
No, I'm
And
gonna leave it in because I'm right as always. You know.
So
Speaking
yeah,
of which,
Rogue One in theaters.
December
Don't go
16th.
watch it. If you want to be a douchebag, you go watch it.
Well, I guess I'm a douche. I never did deny that anyway. So,
You know,
um,
I hope you come back and say, yeah, you're gonna be, you gotta watch it because you're gonna be wrong. You're actually gonna enjoy this, or you can come back and validate and say like, you know what, dude, I watched it. You're not gonna like it.
well, I would
You
just
know,
say that with any movie, even if you know it's going to be a terrible movie, go into it with absolutely no expectations.
well, yeah, but if I do that, then what's the fucking point? If I go with no expectations, then Alone in the Dark's gonna be a great fucking movie.
Well, in a way, it was.
And then no, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. It was a great
What
comedy, unintentional.
What made it great was that I had my sarcastic friends with me. But if I didn't, like,
Well, that's what I
dude,
mean. Surround yourself with people who matter.
so, so I should go watch Rogue One with sarcastic friends in order to enjoy
yes.
it.
Yes. Just don't. You can't go watch it with me because I'll probably stab you in the neck. You know.
You know, I'd be quiet. I'd be just looking at you, going like, "Told you so."
And okay, all right. Now, speaking of films, you did have a story about what Armageddon.
Yes, Armageddon. So,
One of the
but
best yet worst films of Michael Bay.
see, here's the thing. So, uh, Armageddon came out in what, like the 90s?
I think so. Let's go ahead and take a look.
So while you do that, so Armageddon was one of those movies that I watched as a kid, and
98.
everybody was like, "Oh, it's a fucking awesome movie" and stuff, and I watched it, and I remember the last scene when Bruce Willis clicks the fucking bomb, and then you get that flashback scene.
Sure.
And I remember thinking, like, dude, that is just such a fucking powerful scene. Like, it's just great. Like,
Well,
I thought, what? Hold on, like, I was a teenager at the time. Come on, give me a break. I thought that was just like, kind of like really poetic, really majestic. Like, it was done well. Like, because you always hear about, you see your life flashing through your eyes. And when I saw that maybe I was feeling romantic at the time, and
whatever.
it just got me here,
Uh-huh.
So I'm watching this movie the other day, and I was like, this movie is so fucking boring.
Yes.
And I'm looking at it, they're going through all this stuff, and I think, what ruined it for me? That I've been in the fucking military, dude.
Yes.
And they're explaining all, like, the science and how they're flying and stuff, and I'm just
you're
like,
going, bullshit.
I'm like, yeah, dude, it doesn't work that way.
At least they didn't say
But-
AWACS in that movie.
Right. But here's the thing. The scene comes in, Bruce Willis takes the fucking oxygen out of Ben Affleck's suit and kicks him in, and he says, "You know what? Your job's to take care of my little girl. You're the son I never had." And I'm just bawling, dude. I'm
Sure.
going like, and then he, like, everybody's going like, something's wrong. We should go back. He's like, "No, just trust him. Just trust him." And then sure enough, switch, fucking scene comes out, flashbacks, and I'm just like, that is an awesome fucking scene.
I would
I mean, I agree with it. But seeing Bruce Willis dying while what's her name? Liv Taylor?
Liv Tyler. Yeah.
Liv.
Liv.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She looks so fucking hot at that.
I disagree. I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
No.
Dude, Lord of the Rings, you just see her crying all the fucking time. Just like,
Just not a fan.
come here with your elven elvish looking ears
I do
and
not.
mouth.
I don't care for it. No, it's with Armageddon, there's a lot of stuff that I would say that it's still Michael Bay. And when you get a little older, you understand, like those things that piss you off, like the quick edits, the low panning camera, the explosions, of course, the ridiculous flow of the dialogue, all that stuff. But I mean, yes, you can get past it with that scene with Ben Affleck, being tossed back onto the little elevator thing. I still like that scene. I really do. I think it was a good scene. However, I don't agree with the flashback stuff. Because the thing that always pisses me off with films, and it takes me out of the moment completely, is the hesitation with any type of event like that, where like before he's going to click the button, he's just sitting there. Like, not the part where he's like struggling to get back to the remote. I'm talking about when he's sitting there and he's looking up, looking at the earth, and all that stuff. And he's just sitting there with his friggin' thumb hovering the button. That kind of scene, it happens all the time in movies, and it pisses me off. It's like, nobody's going to fault you for just, like, he gets to the remote, finally. Like, you can have that scene where he's struggling to get back to the remote because he dropped it, and there's this earthquake on the asteroid, and, like, it's splitting apart and all that stuff, whatever. You can have that scene. That's awesome. Cool. There's, like, some dramatic moment before he's able to save the day. But the pausing after he gets the fucking remote, it's like, nobody's gonna fault you for, like, having just that scene where he's trying to get to it and then clicking it as soon as he gets it in his hand. Right at the last minute. Right?
Well, see,
but he had like a good
think,
15 to 20 seconds after he had the fucking thing in his hand.
Well, see, I think that's I want to give him the bet. Not, I know I hate Michael Bay. I don't want to give him like sound like I'm giving him credit, but I would think that delay, it's kind of like it's done on purpose because of the next scene, because he's getting a flashback, right?
Yes, but you can still do that with a tiny pause.
I know, but that pause is that it's time distortion for the character's mind. So in his mind, like, you get to experience what it felt to him. Like, that tiny click, it could have been like a microsecond, but since the character's about to die, he had to distort time, so it took him for fucking ever. In our view, 15 seconds.
I don't know if I can get past it though. That's how
I see it.
I mean, I agree with you to a degree, but
don't ruin the scene for me.
No, it's a good scene. I'm gonna give you that. It's a good scene where it starts with Ben Affleck, and that part, it's still gonna make me cry. Even watching it, because say what you want about Ben Affleck, he did really good in that moment. Doing the the over dramatic crying and stuff. But
yeah, well, the one thing I didn't like though is he's like,
"I love you,
man, don't do it. I love you." It's like,
what was wrong with that? It's
you didn't need to yell, "I love you." He sounded like a faggy, needy son of a bitch.
Yeah, they could have changed it to like, Harry, please, or something like that.
Yeah, you kind of like, he's just like, I think Bruce Willis just went like, that part when I said you were the son I never had? Yeah, just take that away.
But it was a good scene. It was probably the best scene of that movie. But I can't really give credit to Michael Bay for many of his films. Most of his films I just think are shit. I mean, when he's given a really good script, even then it's like, it seems like he brings it down a lot. Like, he kind of brings it down to his level, but it's still good because it's a good script. It's just that, like, okay, The Rock, for example. It's like, that's a really good script. But, there's some moments in there where you're like, this is fucking ridiculous. This is stupid. And like I say, with the quick edits, it just makes that dialogue seem off because they're using different edits for that dialogue. So the way that he says this doesn't connect with the tone that this guy is talking. So it just seems weird. Like the whole conversation.
So Black Friday, I had something. I'm just kidding. That would be a Michael Bay edit, by the way.
Yeah, pretty
Instead
much.
of talking about
Well,
Black
no,
Friday, it's like,
with a Michael Bay edit, it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like you'll notice now, like anybody listening, go into a Michael Bay film and watch the dialogue between two characters because he does quick edits and they don't really take the time to go through the editing and like find a flow of dialogue. The dialogue seems off with the tone. So like one person will say something and then the other person will say something that on paper is fantastic. But when it's spoken in his films, it doesn't work because one character seems excited at that point of the day when they were recording it. And then they recorded this guy's at the same time, but it was 4 hours later in the day. And it just, their tone is completely different, but they use those two edits and mash them together. And it's just terrible. The flow is terrible.
it's called being creative, Lonnie.
That's
But
for him.
but
maybe.
yeah. But anyways, there was something about this Armageddon thing. So for you guys listening, when we I know it seems that we don't have a structure on how we talk, but we actually kind of do. So we
Kinda.
have this document where we just typed in the subjects that we want to talk for the night.
And we kind of just
And-
add throughout the week.
And I wrote Armageddon, but Lonnie thought that he wrote it before, and he sent me this fucking video.
And you know what I think I'll do is I'll probably add the audio, since it's pretty much audio, the whole thing. It's from a radio show. And it was funny because the both of us thought of this subject, both completely different subjects, but both with the title Armageddon.
So so I went with the movie, like I said, thinking about the scene because I've just seen the movie and I'm like, oh, like I want to talk about that one scene because it makes it special because it's a Michael Bay film and we fucking hate Michael Bay. But
I don't hate him.
But yeah, we don't respect him as a director though.
No, not at all.
So, but then Lonnie comes in and is like, oh, dude, like I want to show you this video. And like he at this point he didn't know that it was me. He's like, I want to show you this video. It's just just watch it and don't comment on it yet. Just wait for the podcast. And I'm like, all right. And I'm not gonna go into the details. You're gonna post the audio, right?
Yeah, I'll put it at the very end of the podcast.
So
you have to listen.
You have to listen to the whole fucking thing, or just I guess you could just skip, right?
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. Just so anyways, he says like just watch this video. So I'm watching the video and I'm like, what the fuck did you send me? And all of a sudden they have this Armageddon. and I'm like laughing my ass out on this video and I'm like, dude, I was thinking about the movie. And he's like, did you write that? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, I thought I did.
Yes, our periods are synced.
So I pretty much discover a hidden gem of comedy just by typing Armageddon. So thank you, Michael Bay, wherever you are. I hope you don't make any more shitty movies.
But I hope that if you do, you hire a co-director that can, like Martin Scorsese that says, no, dude.
Yeah, that won't fly, dude.
Because I would say that there's things that Michael Bay does well, but there's not very many of them. But I do think that in some ways he is a decent director, but there's not many ways he's a decent director. I think he has his place. I think he would be better as like a maybe a script writer. What
would be really fucked up, Lonnie? If how in Sin City they had guest director Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah.
And so he directed this one short segment.
Sure.
What if, like, uncredited, they had a guest director and it was just that last scene?
It's just, like, filled with explosions and broken dialogue.
So the scene that we just talked about is actually directed by the uncredited director.
So you mean like the scene in Armageddon was actually
Yeah,
a different director? It's like, dude, okay, this movie was kind of shit, so let's go ahead and fix the end of it just to make it, watchable.
Oh man, that'd be pretty fucked up, dude.
Oh, that'd hurt my soul if I was a director,
So I'm gonna change the subject here. Back to my Black Friday comment before I forget.
Okay.
So I wrote in our little document here a question.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love
it's
it.
kind of like me writing our own question to our email. So is Black Friday a light version of The Purge? So now, in case if you haven't seen The Purge, it's another fucking Michael Bay film.
That would have been good if,
So for those who haven't seen The Purge, the premise is this: like once a year, they have this day where it's a free for all. Like it's kind of like a
it's
population
12 hours,
control.
I think. I think it's just 12 hours of that day.
Oh, it's 12 hours? Okay. Yeah. I haven't seen the movie. I just know the
you don't want to go full 24, man.
So they say, like, from this time to this time, you're okay to do whatever the fuck you want.
All crime is legal.
And it's legal. So you can go and murder a baby if you wanted to, and it's okay. It's kosher. You're not going to get... But if you do it after the time or before the time starts, then yeah, it's a crime and you go to jail. So it's kind of like a way of
purging.
Purging and controlling population. So throughout my years in Mexico, I've always heard about, Black Friday specials and stuff, and I saw like what people have done.
Yeah.
For a fucking Star Wars toy.
Or toilet paper.
Toilet paper? What?
Yes. I won't get into it.
What they've done for TVs, so like every fucking Black Friday, it never fails that I see in the news that somebody kills somebody. Or there was a riot and stuff. So I'm asking you guys. I'm asking you, Lonnie, because you probably you grew up with Black Friday, right?
Yes.
See, I saw it in the distance. So is it a light version of The Purge?
Yes. I don't even think it's light necessarily. I think it's moderate. It's well, and in the way that there's not as much murder, nearly as much murder as The Purge, but there is probably around the same amount of violence. And the thing that, my aunt, she is into this. She's not a bad person either. I'm not saying that people that go out on Black Friday are bad people. I'm just saying that my aunt, who is really into Black Friday deals, she's one of those people that gets all of the ads, all of the coupons and all that stuff. Coupons, whatever.
Coupons.
Coupons. She gets all that stuff like a couple days before, she reads through the newspaper and finds out where she's going to go, what time she needs to be there, all that stuff. Nowadays, I'm at least, a decade removed from that version of my aunt. I don't know if she still does it. But,
does she actually go to the stores and wait in line?
No, she never waited in line. She's not that crazy. But I have actually gone with her one time when I was a teenager. It was her, my mom, I think my uncle was with us, and I just went with them to a couple of stores. And I will say that is the craziest I have ever seen a mob of people inside the United States. Now, outside, that's a completely different story. But here in the United States, that is the weirdest event to see. I mean, it's because the thing that sickens me the most is that it's consumerism to its extreme. And consumerism in itself is kind of disgusting, right? You know, but then when you see this, it's like people are fighting and killing for a parking spot or, like you say, a television set. They're fighting to pay money. Understand that. You're fighting to pay money. That doesn't make any sense to me. Now, I understand that they're fantastic sales. Like, you can get, like, you know, a 70-inch screen for, like, $300 or something. But, seriously, I mean, it's stuff. Like, if someone stole my phone, I'm not going to lose my shit and, you know, blow my brains out. You know, if someone took my computer, I'm not going to go insane. I just don't understand the reasoning behind it. Like, what happens to people? You know, to begin with, why are you camping in a tent days before the sales to be the first one in line?
Well, yeah, well, no,
because it's not going to matter once the fucking doors open. It doesn't matter what place you are. If you're within the first 100, it doesn't matter.
You're just the first one to go inside the store, not necessarily the first one to cash out, right?
But no, that's not even... You might not even be the first one to get in the store, because now it's so bad they open the doors and people are stumbling and stampeding, and... So, like, why are you even waiting? And to me, with the advancements that we have, you know, like, we have it so easy now where you can go online and order stuff from the safety of your couch. You know, you can do it from your friggin' cell phone. Why the hell would you get up off your ass, go to this, you know, proven danger zone, and why would you take your kids? I mean, why would you... To me, that is just the embodiment of the worst of our society.
That's fucked up. Didn't a little girl, like a 5-year-old, died?
Oh, I'm sure that
Like
there was
that,
more
like
this
stampede?
year.
I haven't seen the news. If I don't know. Have you seen it? Did it get pretty crazy this year?
Yes, I guess this was one of their worst years. And, of course, the store that has the worst incidents, which one do you think it is?
Walmart. Got it. And
it, unfortunately, and I might sound like an asshole here, but it has to do with the people that shop at Walmart. And it also has to do with the type of deals that they do, and the staffing, and the environment. It's just, if you're going to go out Black Friday shopping, don't go to Walmart. Don't go to Target. Don't go to any of those major... You know, chains.
Is Target that bad too?
Yes.
Wow.
Now, I would say that Target, I guess, is known for having a much larger staff on that day. So it's a little better, and now it's so bad now that they actually have more police on duty to be at these places. I mean, if you really sit down and think about it. If you really sit down and think about what that situation is, it's like, first of all, you're waiting in line days before the store opens on a certain day so that you can be one of the first to go and buy something at a cheaper price. Now, that alone is a little crazy. Yeah. Secondly, in order to get this item, you may have to fight off other people who are doing the same thing you're doing, your stupid ass is doing, is waiting in the cold.
How fun would it be if when you go inside, you get handled like a sword?
Why don't they just make it that way? If we're going to do it this way, and like you say, is it a light version of the Purge? Why don't we just make it full on?
Full on Purge on Black Friday?
Just set the fucking forest on fire, man. No, I would say... I can't believe that this is an actual thing in our country. It sucks.
I did it once. I've done it once just to say that I've done it, and I wasn't really surprised. I went to Toys R Us, and I wasn't really, like, you know, enthused about it, and I didn't really see, like, I mean, I got to see a lot of people in pajamas, which is, like, weird
because they were sleeping in their car.
And, you know, like, as soon as I go in, I see this guy going through the Star Wars figurines, and he's just like dropping shit.
Oh yeah, because they'll just throw it in their cart and then they'll search through it later.
No, like the guy was throwing them in the floor. He was looking for something like a figured in specific, like a specific action figure. I don't know which one it was, but he was just like dropping them, boom, 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 boom. And then this other nerd showed up, and he's doing the same shit, like boom, 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 boom. guess they were looking for Anakin or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
But
it's just, I mean, and they do it in groups too. They have like one guy go to one store and they have another guy go to another store. When they have groups like that,
it's like MIT.
Yeah. What the hell, man?
Dude, that's. I mean, I guess the stupidity of people never ceases to surprise me. But so I'll say this to the audience: unless you want to die like Mufasa in The Lion King, don't go to Walmart, I guess, and Target.
Yeah, for real.
Stampede.
Oh my god. Yeah. Screw Black Friday. I can't believe that's an actual thing. You know, I can understand deals. I think that's how it started. It was, you know, like special deals the day after Thanksgiving, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Like there would be a lot of people at these stores, but then they just started doing these crazy deals, you know. And people think that it's like, you know, they're not losing money on these dates. You know, they're making a shit ton of money off of you.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing too. Like if they can do it on one day and give you a $300 70-inch TV, then that tells me that we should get organized to get it at $370 in the first fucking place.
Yes, but people aren't that motivated.
Yep. It tells me that they could have given me that in the first place, right? I didn't have to fucking wait all fucking year.
I don't know if I can say that. I don't know if I can say that people aren't that motivated because they're motivated enough to camp out.
Yeah, there you go. They're motivated to like stampede somebody else, and why wouldn't they to like say like, no, dude, like screw you, I'm not paying $1,000 for that TV. I know you can give it to me for $300.
Well, yeah, and I don't think you're ever going to change those people that go every year, though. You know, because it's like, I think it's become one of those things, like you say, the purge, where it's like something that people enjoy. I think that some people may go with that excitement that they might get the shit kicked out of them, or something might happen. They might see somebody get shot, you know, and I'm not saying it's like at the forefront of their mind. I think it's just one of those things that they have in the back of their mind that's like, this might happen. You know, it's exciting. Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing it. You know, it's sad.
Don't do what the masses do. Be unique, people. Be unique. Don't disappoint me, America. Actually, you have disappointed me. You know why? Because I am still on my search to find those fucking boner pills, and I can't find them. I don't know which one to buy. So I didn't see any emails there saying, hey, Zumi, try these boner pills. Like, these work magic.
Well, I have the question, like, we still need people to find this stuff out because I don't want you to do all the research yourself. But the other thing that I was going to suggest, I know that we fill up a lot of time, but you know, content is going to dry up every now and then, so I figured maybe like once a month we could do a movie review on a shitty movie. Now, on shitty movies, I mean like things that you would find on Netflix, like all the stuff that I'm not saying Netflix has shitty movies. I'm just saying that 90% of the movies on Netflix are shit. So, you know, but it's like the stuff that you wouldn't watch. You know, it's Sharknado. Sharknado. So my suggestion is that, you know, maybe we'll try out a thing where like once a month we do a review of a movie. We'll give ourselves homework and say, okay, this month we're going to watch this movie, and we'll do, you know, maybe a stupid review. And if you guys like that, then maybe we'll continue doing that. I think we'll try it this month. We'll figure out a movie. And if you have any suggestions on the movie that we should watch, we'll go ahead and put that in our library of things to watch. The other thing that I would say, I think Zumi got up to pee, so I'll just continue to talk Lone Star here. We missed a few things this week, but that's okay. But here he is. I finished that, you know, like with the movie review. I said, you know, if people wanted to, they could give in suggestions, or if they want to hear that at all, you know,
Yeah, they're gonna like everybody's gonna win except us, I guess.
Did you wash your fucking hands?
I did.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why?
I don't trust you. Okay.
I can smear you with it, I guess. But yeah, I think everybody else is gonna win except for us, unless they actually watch the shitty fucking movie.
Well, that's why I say if they have a suggestion on a movie that they've maybe seen, it's like, send it in and we'll put it in our library.
I honestly recommend that you guys go YouTube, because it's on YouTube. I already look. What's it? Blood Fist 3, Dawn the Dragon Wilson. Look for that first scene that traumatized me.
And if you don't know what he's talking about, you need to go back to episode 4 and you need to listen.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. It was pretty traumatizing for, a 9-year-old or whatever, how old I was. I don't remember.
It's absolutely terrible.
I watched it again. I couldn't. I had my kids around, so I didn't put any audio. And yeah, it was still pretty. It was still pretty intense. I just had to validate it,
Like,
because,
okay, this was the movie.
Yeah, I had to go like it. Okay, it was really a movie. It didn't happen to me.
Oh. You didn't have some like Freudian response. God, that's terrible.
Because that would be pretty fucked up. Like, hey, yeah, dude, there's no rape scene in there. I'd be like,
uh-oh.
No.
Something's wrong.
Like, why do
danger, Will Robinson, danger.
I probably shouldn't make fun of it, right? No, well, fuck you.
If you have a problem with it, go ahead and email us at... Well?
Yeah. So I guess we're going to end the podcast with you, because I've been trying to do this for a couple of episodes now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna... So I have a little game for you.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk to you in Spanish, and you're going to try and follow up the conversation.
Okay.
So you can answer in English to whatever you think it is that I'm asking or telling you.
Okay.
And then I'll try and direct the conversation towards what you're saying.
Okay.
So it kind of has to flow. So if you don't speak Spanish, then you're gonna feel like Lonnie feels at this time. And if you do speak Spanish, then you're gonna have a lot of fun, I guess, with it.
I guess
because you'll be on my side. You'll be like I know what he's saying, and it's definitely not what Lonnie is answering. So what say you, Lonnie? You want to do this?
Sure, why not? Let's give it a try.
All right. So, if
don't say donde está el baño.
you already know that one, right?
Yes, I already know that one.
Before we do, because we're gonna end it at this. So Twitter us, and that's at NBTLT podcast.
Yep.
You can email your questions or comments, nbtltpodcast@gmail.com. Download our episodes on iTunes, Shout Engine.
Yes.
Are those the only ones that we're on?
I think
Lonnie?
so. I think we're on Facebook too.
Oh yeah, like us on Facebook. If you don't, you're a douchebag.
Oh yeah, and if you're gonna go to
or you-
iTunes, leave us a fucking review.
Yeah.
And not a shitty one. Not a
even if
shitty
it's-
one.
Well, I was gonna say, even if it's a 1-star, at least you give people.
I don't want the 1 stars. Screw those
Well,
people.
Yeah, but don't they have to show their username and stuff?
Oh yeah, so I guess we could ridicule them.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
It shows me that you have balls and that you probably drive a BMW.
Probably. Yeah. Your name might be Sean.
Oh shit! And remember, at the end, you get the Armageddon side, or Lonnie's side of the story of Armageddon.
Oh,
what he thought
it's a beautiful
it was
story.
actually.
It's a love story. It's a love story.
So enjoy, listeners. So Lonnie,
Yes.
¿Cómo has estado, mi amigo?
My day is going quite well.
Me dijeron que estás un poco agüitado porque te metiste algo en el culo.
A little slower, please.
Me dijeron que estás un poco agüitado porque te metieron algo en el culo.
Yes, I will see you next week.
Y la semana, y en esa misma semana te sigue doliendo.
I would really appreciate it if you didn't talk about my wife that way. The next time you do, I might have to hurt you.
No estoy hablando de tu esposa, estoy hablando de lo que te pasó en el culo.
Culo. I think I know this word. So you're telling me something about ass. I think.
¿Pero qué te estoy diciendo?
Oh, you have HPV on your asshole.
No.
See? I gave it to you.
Okay, I think this just backfired on me. I can't stop laughing.
You're giving away your game.
I know, right? Well, it's because I have a camera and you don't, so you can't.
And you can't tell me what you were saying either.
No, I'm not gonna tell you.
I'm just gonna be endlessly ridiculed,
Yeah. Entonces, ¿te gustó lo que te pasó en el culito?
Sure. Yeah, why not? We could do that. I hope it was nothing bad.
This is beautiful. All right, we're gonna end it that way.
All right, guys. Well, Zumi, It was fun, and all of our listeners, we will see you next week.
Later, guys.
Have a good night.
Here's a fax from Cooter in Orlando, who sends me a copy of a story that appeared in the Los Angeles Times. He says, a prestigious newspaper, not the oft-maligned Weekly World News. Quoting the story, in retrospect, lighting the match was my big mistake, but I was only trying to retrieve the gerbil. Eric Tomaszewski told the news doctors in the severe burns unit of Salt Lake City Hospital. Tomaszewski and his homosexual partner, Andrew Kinky Farnham, had been admitted for emergency treatment after a felching session had gone seriously wrong. I pushed a cardboard tube up his rectum and slipped Raggett, our gerbil, in, he explained. As usual, Kinky shouted out, Armageddon! My cue that he'd had enough. I tried to retrieve Raggett, but he wouldn't come out again, so I peered into the tube and struck a match, thinking the light might attract him. At a hushed press conference, a hospital spokesman described what happened next. The match ignited a pocket of intestinal gas and flame shot out the tube, igniting Mr. Tomaszewski's hair and severely burning his face. It also set fire to the gerbil's fur and whiskers, which in turn ignited a larger pocket of gas further up the intestine, propelling the rodent out like a cannonball. Armageddon! 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 Tomaszewski suffered second-degree burns and a broken nose from the impact of the gerbil, while Farnham suffered first and second-degree burns to his anus and lower intestinal tract. Armageddon! Peered into the tube and struck a match, thinking the light might make the gerbil come out. So that's what felching is all about. Armageddon! Who says that? I didn't. Robert D. Raven on the John Bourne Billy Show.